what I've mainly been doing is watching this little show, and it's called... I can't pronounce the name. I need you to say it.
Do it.
Kaguya-Sama, Love is War. What is that?
Excuse me. What did you say? That wasn't even close. Hello and welcome to the Nerdiest podcast, the show where nerds talk about nerdy things. I'm one of your hosts, Mr. Nick Barrett, and as always, I'm joined by my ride or die, Mr. Jackson Glass. And today, we are going to be continuing Jackson's anime adventure with Kaguya-Sama Love is War, which if you've been with the podcast for any amount of time, I guess, since last year, you'll know that this is my favorite romance anime of all time. So if we get in here and Jackson doesn't like it, we may never make it to episode 100. Like, we may just stop right here, which, by the way, we are on episode 98, which is insane. We are technically one episode now away from 100. That is wild. So I will just get all this out of the way. Go down in the Spotify description, vote in the poll on what anime we should watch next. The options are My Hero Academia, Attack on Titan, and Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood.
Ooh.
I was like, you know what?
Heavy
It's
hitters.
It'll be the second to last anime adventure of the year. Let's just let some heavy hitters go at it instead of
Why
doing
not?
these smaller, like, not that Spy Family or Love is War is particularly small, but just like some of the bigger names, you know, just duke it out in the polls. So we'll see which one wins. We'll find out. You can also, down in the Spotify description, there will be a little Q&A box. And what you can do in that Q&A box is you can submit your questions for episode 100. Submit them all. Any and all questions. What's your favorite color? What's your favorite color? What's your favorite ice cream flavor? What's your favorite toothbrush brand? Like, anything and everything. We'll take all the questions because we're going to have a huge, do Q&A throughout episode 100. And we want to have plenty of your questions to answer. So you can keep it on topic with movies, or you can ask us our favorite toothbrush brand. So
if you were
with
at
that
our
being
Jeopardy
said-
stream last weekend, you know Nick that knows all about the toothbrushes. You know that
I
if
do.
there's a toothbrush question, he's gonna get it right. You know what's
Absolutely.
up.
But yeah, before I jump into my week and how I've been doing and what movies I've been watching, I'm going to pass it over to Jackson to ask him the same question. How have you been? How you doing? What movies have you been watching? Go for it. Floor is
Hey.
yours.
Thanks. I've been doing really well. And I would be doing a lot better if you followed us on Instagram at the Nerdiest Podcast and subscribed on YouTube at the Nerdiest Podcast so that you know when new episodes are coming out. You get great original content. We're on the road to 1,000 subscribers. So thank you so much for anyone that's already subscribed. If you're not, we're doing live events. So go subscribe there. Follow on Instagram so that you can send questions for episode 100. It'll be in the description. We'll be doing Instagram story polls everywhere. So episode 100 is coming up. And we cannot wait. My week was pretty good. I didn't really do a whole lot. One of those, someone asked me what I've been up to, and I legitimately froze. And I said, what have I been up to? And I realized it's the summer. And so I've really just been hanging out. I've been watching movies. I've been watching shows. Watched a lot of Love is War, because for this episode, we'll get into that in a minute. But yeah, I've really just been hanging out, been watching a lot of movies, playing a lot of Mario Kart. I have not played as much Fortnite as I thought I would this summer because during the school year, that's all I want to do is I hate that I can't play Fortnite with the boys right now. But this summer, I don't have the battle pass right now just because I'm not going to complete it because I'm not playing. So that's been kind of sad, I guess. But other than that, I don't have a whole lot to say. I've been working a lot and watching movies and been getting ready for episode 100. I'll be honest. So we got a lot going on. Lots of music, lots of movies, doing lots of videos, good content. So stay tuned. Nick, how was your week?
It was definitely a week. This was 4th of July week.
Oh
Happy
my gosh,
America
it totally
Week.
was.
That's wild.
I love
America is like
explosions.
247 years old, I think.
Boomer.
Something like that. I don't know. What a boomer. Jeez. Good times. It was nice because we got to go watch like fireworks and stuff. Which, listen, nothing makes you feel more patriotic than going and watching stuff explode for
That's
40
so true.
minutes.
That's
It's
so
so
true.
crazy. And it's funny because I tweeted about this. Follow me on Twitter at Nerdiest Nick, which if you didn't notice, all of our like personal social medias are in the description now too.
Right.
So if you want to
Follow us
follow us
there, you know?
personally, great. If
Yeah.
not, I'm not offended. Anyway, I posted about it on Twitter. I think it's really funny that 4th of July is like the one day that the entire country comes together and is like, yeah, let's blow stuff up to celebrate dunking on the British.
There's
yeah.
only one thing that can save us.
Fireworks.
And it's the one thing that can destroy us too, and it's explosions.
Bombs.
I think I feel like we bond over stuff that we don't expect to bond over, and that's a beautiful thing. God bless our troops. God bless America. And gentlemen, start your engines. That's what I
Amen.
will say. I totally
Thank you.
forgot it was 4th of July week. That's
Yeah, I know.
totally my
Because it
bad.
kind of went by. It just
Yeah,
kind of
that's-
came and went.
That's why I didn't do anything, because I was technically on vacation, even though I wasn't scheduled to work the days that I was off anyway. So, go me.
Exactly.
Vacation.
It was weird. It was weird for me too because 4th of July fell on a Tuesday.
Yeah.
But at work we decided to observe 4th of July on Monday, so we got a 4-day week, or not a 3-day weekend.
Yeah.
So then I went to work on Tuesday. Which was great because we had all kinds of tech problems, and all of our tech people took 4th of July off.
Shout
so
out
we
to the
didn't
tech
have any
people.
help.
Shout out to tech people that aren't there to help. I know what
No
that's
joke,
like.
right? But yeah, other than that, I'm trying to think what I did this week. I went
We
and
haven't
saw
barely done anything.
I went and saw Indiana Jones and Asteroid City.
I'd like to say,
Indiana
record,
Jones
I have not
sucked.
on the record. I have not seen Indiana Jones. I do not endorse this opinion yet.
It
Come back soon. I have not endorsed this opinion. Continue.
It makes all the other movies look so much better in comparison.
Whoa.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hold
It
on.
makes even the worst Indiana Jones movies out of the original 4, it makes them look good.
Well,
And that's all I'll say. We'll come back to it in a later episode.
I'd
once
also
you've
like
seen
to
it.
I'd like to clarify a little bit on our Indiana Jones episode. While we did dunk on a lot of them, I did enjoy the Indiana Jones movies. Like, we may have been harsh on some of them, but I also was like, The Last Crusade, not that bad. It's not my favorite. It's really just not my favorite. So,
If you guys want to know how much I dislike this Indiana Jones movie,
Dial of Destiny.
Dial of Destiny, I would watch The Rise of Skywalker 10 times
Ooh.
before I would
Whoa.
watch Dial of Destiny again.
See, I haven't seen it, and so I can't even be like, you're crazy, or I can't even be like, that's so true, because I haven't seen it.
I gave it a 1 star on Letterboxd. I did
I
not
saw
like
that.
it.
I
was
saw
disappointed the entire time.
I have yet to see a review above 3 stars. Like, it is either 1, 2, or 3, which is just really sad.
I really tried to go in with an open mind. I didn't want to go in with like, oh, I'm not going to like this movie because everyone's saying it's not good. I wanted to go in with an open mind and say, okay, I'll give it a chance. The trailers didn't, really sell me on it, but I'm going to go in with an open mind. I did that. I was turned off within the first 30 minutes.
Yeah.
And that was hard because it's a 2.5 hour movie.
I saw that it was long. When all of the other Indiana Jones movies hit almost exactly 2 hours. When this one took a little longer. And I'm also... This is a legitimate question. Is Steven Spielberg not working anymore? Why didn't they just let him do it?
That's a great question. And I'm gonna say this in not the nicest way possible because I don't like her.
Oh.
This is definitely a Kathleen Kennedy project. 100%. Because, like, some of the things we noted about Kingdom of the Crystal Skull that were like, oh, that wasn't
weird.
great, but that was because Kathleen Kennedy was involved. Yeah, they get a lot worse in this movie because Kathleen Kennedy is the freaking head of Lucasfilm. Just so dumb because she makes bad decisions.
So bad. This is not.
Anyway,
we'll
talk more about it later after you've
We'll
seen
talk
it.
more about this movie later. But I also went and saw Asteroid City, and you did too, and I liked it.
I enjoyed it a lot more than Indiana Jones.
We have another episode planned where we're going to go more in depth with these movies, but Asteroid City as a whole, I just wish there was more celebrities. You know, that's my only note, is there wasn't enough celebrities, which is sarcastic because there was 5,000 celebrities in this movie.
I was gonna say.
But I don't think I fully get it, but I really liked it. And that's how I leave most Wes Anderson movies. Is I don't know if I fully get it, but I really liked it. And that's cinema, baby. It's not a film bro movie if you understand it. I'm just saying, when Christopher Nolan makes a movie that no one understands, everyone praises and says how good of a director he is. But when I make a movie that no one understands, they say I'm amateur. That's all I'm saying. It feels like
film
a
bros
double
are some of the
standard.
dumbest people on the planet. I'll just say it. Because clearly nobody else wants to say it. Film bros, you guys are some of the dumbest people on the planet. Now you might say, Nick, aren't you a film bro? No, because I don't sit at the ground and worship the ground that Martin Scorsese walks on. Like, I'll be honest. I've never seen a Martin Scorsese movie. So I saw one Quentin Tarantino movie and I didn't like it. So
Tarantino.
I'm just saying.
I'm just
I'm
saying.
not a film bro. Clearly,
you must not be into feet if you.
Well, actually, I was told at film school I'm not a real film student because I hadn't seen, what was it? The Godfather. I've never seen The Godfather. And they're like, you've never seen The Godfather? You've never seen Pulp Fiction? And I'm like, no.
No.
Because I don't care.
Which is,
I'm
like,
good.
it's the kind of thing where it's like, I know those movies are awesome. I also have not seen them, and I will watch them someday. But when you react like that, it makes me want to not watch them.
Exactly.
I want to not watch the movie that you're scolding me for not seeing. When are you going to realize that this has an adverse effect?
Yeah, stop praising. Like, if you praise a movie and gas it up like it's a 10 out of 10 or a 30 out of 30, then you're setting my expectations too high.
Yeah.
You kind of got to be realistic. Like, you can say, it's really good. I really enjoyed it personally, but it's probably more like a 7 or 8 out of 10.
Like, what happened to... I feel like what happened to respect? You know?
We
What
lost it
happened
when
to-
Twitter was invented.
That's so true. I want to have... my favorite people to have movie conversations with are, oh, I respect that movie, but it's not my favorite. Or, I respect that opinion, but I disagree. This is how we have conversations, is I respect X movie for what it did and what it's done, and what it is. But it's not my favorite, and that's okay. But you didn't like The Godfather. You're not Pulp Fiction is not your favorite movie. Why is Ratatouille in your Letterboxd top 4? This is great. I don't care. I'm gonna watch what I want to watch. All right, I'm putting it out there. So Twitter is the reason that we lost respect, and maybe we can gain it back.
Nope.
Because now
No, we're not.
Threads is a thing.
No, we're not getting it back on Threads, okay?
I
Threads
just want to say
it's Twitter, but worse.
it's Twitter. How is it worse?
It's because nobody's on it.
It's
That's how
not-
it's worse.
No, that means it's better.
No. Okay, if I can't get Nintendo Direct updates on Threads, then it's not a good app. I'm sorry. Is Nintendo of America on here yet?
I gotta go. I'm looking it up now. I just like. If
No.
you don't know, Threads is the Instagram equivalent of Twitter. Instagram's new Twitter. and
there
you
any
can
big
log
companies on
in
here?
with your Instagram credentials, and then it's just Twitter, but it's black, and you can type words. Is there a character limit on Threads?
I would assume so. Okay, so
I
all like
assume
the
there is
official
one.
Disney accounts are on here, but Nintendo's not.
Yeah.
Because of course
Yeah.
not. They're in Japan. They probably haven't gotten Threads yet.
Which so far, I like it. That's what I'm going to say is I
don't.
like Threads, but I also think we will not care about it in a couple months. It is absolutely a fad, and Twitter will remain king just because
It's been around for so long.
it's been around for so long. I also just, if you're on Twitter to stay, you have followers and community there, and so you're not gonna leave that. If
Right.
you're on Twitter to stay, you have X thousand followers, and there's no reason to be like, well, see you X thousand followers later, I'm going to Threads. Like, Threads is for people that don't want Twitter, but want an equivalent. It's almost like if your friends were on Twitter, because Twitter felt very more professional and very like business. It's politicians, it's celebrities, but which is ironic because no one acts professional on Twitter.
I was gonna say, where do you get this professionalism from Twitter?
It's
What?
It's just like, because growing up, like, my dad was on Twitter and he talked to his coworkers and his friends there, but like, my mom wasn't on Twitter. Like, my friends weren't on Twitter. Like,
Twitter is a crap posting app.
Oh, it is.
That is what it is.
Well, that's how I'm using Threads. If you want to, I will pull up my Threads. If you want to follow me on Threads, I'm at The Glass Studios, and it's just me posting meme images. Like, I posted this dope picture of Mr. Krabs the other day just because I wanted to.
Yeah, that's what I do on Twitter.
And then there's Link. All right. See, I can post whatever I want on Threads. I've decided Threads is where I'm going to do whatever I want.
Should we make a Threads for the Nerdiest podcast?
If this video gets
if this video gets 5 likes, we will make a Threads for the Nerdiest
podcast.
Only the YouTube version, because you can't like the video on Spotify.
I will run a podcast Threads account. I will post the dumbest crap on there.
Will you run it better than the Instagram account?
I don't know. I feel like Instagram is gonna stay up there.
It has to. We have like 700 followers.
No, yeah. If anyone's on Threads, let me know what you think. I think it's kind of stupid, but I'm gonna stay on there for now, just because I want to see what's gonna happen. They're probably data mining like nobody's business.
Oh, of course they are.
But I mean,
it's
automation's gonna kill us all, but we're all gonna die anyway. So you may as well die on a conveyor belt. So that's what I'm gonna say. In other news, they announced a new TV series. I don't know how to approach this topic, but they announced the Among Us TV series.
It could actually be kind of good.
Tell me about that.
I literally don't know anything about it other than they announced it, and it's being written by the guy who did Infinity Train. Which, if you've seen that show, it's supposed to... I've only seen like the first episode. Mm-hmm. But from what I've heard, that show was done really well. And apparently he said like he wanted to do an Among Us show, and now they're letting him do it. And I'm like, you know what? Yeah, sure. I'm out here for a really wild, wacky, like comedic Among Us TV show. I'm pretty sure it's going to be animated. And I'm like, hey, great decision, because Among Us is kind of weird. Like,
yeah,
it's got these little minion-looking dudes who their torsos just crack open, and it's like you get stabbed and then it closes back. That'd be really hard to do in live action.
Yeah.
So I don't think they've announced a cast or anything. I think it's just the show is happening. And I thought that was really funny. I was like, I want to mention that because it's Among Us, a game that everyone is like, oh, Among Us is dead.
Oh, Among
and I'm like,
Us.
Is it though?
I can honestly tell you that I have never played a full game of Among Us.
We got to fix that.
Hey, if y'all want to play on stream,
Among
let
Us
me
would
know.
be so hard to play on the stream because we'd have to put chat on like a really big delay.
Yeah. Well,
Or we'd have to have an honor system.
You just cut chat until like voting.
No, because then they just chat. Oh, it's Nick. Nick is the
Oh,
imposter.
it's Nick. Okay, that's fair. So just no chat.
It's really only a disadvantage for me if I'm
Yeah.
the imposter, because then everyone can see. So it'd be on like, or you'd just have to not read chat.
Yeah, that's true.
Anyone
Because
who's
they would
playing
only
would have to
see
not read
you.
chat.
So
That would.
I had to look this up because I wanted the exact number. Mattel has said that if Barbie does well, they have 45 other movies on the docket based on Mattel stuff.
45?
45 movies planned. They're like, yeah, if Barbie does well, then we'll do more. And we have 45 different options. Which, I saw that on Twitter the other day, which, that's what else I'm going to say, is Twitter's going to stay my place for movie news. I'm not moving that to Threads. Anyway, and I'm just like, hold on, whoa. 45 movies from Mattel?
Okay, hold on. Let's go through their brand portfolio.
Yeah.
So they have
go through
Barbie,
the portfolio. Yeah.
Hot Wheels, Fisher
Ooh.
Price, American Girl,
Yeah.
Uno, Mega Bloks.
Yep.
Barney. What else? Bob the Builder. Disney Pixar Cars. No, you don't.
No, they don't.
Nice try. That's funny. You don't have Toy Story. I know that. I'm trying to find like the Ever After High. I remember that. That was
I forgot about
rough.
that. Is that like the monster dolls?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not about that lifestyle.
Well, I feel like they don't have Minecraft. I know they don't own it. They do have Monster High. I feel like most of these are not. Let's make a movie about these.
So they're moving forward with a Barney movie.
You know what
I
they
will
do
say
have?
that.
They have Thomas and Friends.
Ooh, adult Thomas movie.
No.
Put Greta Gerwig on the Thomas movie. You won't.
Can we get a Thomas horror movie where Thomas runs around the island and kills people? Thank you.
I will say that it's like Bullet Train, but it's like they're
but it's
on Thomas the Tank Engine.
Dude, that'd be wild.
They are moving forward with the Barney movie, and Daniel Kaluuya, I'm so sorry. Daniel Kaluuya is producing it. He was in Nope and Get Out, and he was in Spider-Verse. He was the Spider-Punk. He's set to produce it, and he said it's a Barney movie. I will add Barney the dinosaur. And he said it is a A24 type surrealist movie directed towards adults.
So Barney's gonna take the helmet off and be like, "Ah, what a day."
And so he'd be like, so essentially Barney.
What a day!
He's gonna be
working
like,
for the man.
Barney. Which,
Speaking of movies,
you know,
that will be kind of serious. Did
Yeah.
you see J.J. Abrams talked about his Hot Wheels film and how it will
Yeah.
be emotional, grounded, and gritty? What does that mean? Is he making Hot Wheels Fast and the Furious?
you know, they're like throwing all these like IPs out to do gritty adult movies. And here's the thing. Barbie is going to be PG-13. There's no way that is a PG movie. After
No, I think it
seeing
is
the
13.
trailers. I think the point is that it's PG-13. Here's the thing. If it's done well, they can do it. What a good idea. And this is what we've talked about with like Disney remakes is they are marketing towards like kids when in reality the people going to go see are the nostalgic people that grew up with this stuff. So these adults that grew up with Barbie and film bros and like people that love movies are like, oh, Greta Gerwig is doing this super stylized film that's awesome. But people that grew up with Barbie are like, oh, it's Barbie, that's awesome. So pretty much everyone agrees that the Barbie movie is awesome. And so we want to go see it. And then the Oppenheimer stuff, like together, like that's made it even bigger. And so honestly, this is not a bad idea. It's not. I just really don't need 45 of them. And I don't need 3 of the top 10 highest grossing movies of all time to be gritty Hot Wheels movies. You know? Does that make sense?
I think they threw that 45 out there of like, we have 45 ideas, but will all 45 of them happen? No. I think there are a bunch in there that are like, oh, what if we did a super gritty adult Uno movie? Like, that could be really good, but they might get halfway through writing that script and be like, maybe we should scrap
this
it.
Is
because like
kind of stupid.
I've had that with YouTube videos where I'm like, these are some really good ideas. When I write down 30 ideas and then I start going through and I'm like, no, not really.
Yeah.
No, not that one.
Mm-hmm.
And like just cutting that down. So I think if Barbie does really well, which I think it will, because
it will,
they're actually marketing the movie, unlike most companies nowadays, apparently. But I think if it does really well, we'll end up with maybe 5 of those, maybe 10. I think they talked about doing a Barbie sequel, so I'm sure some of those 45 are like sequels to Barbie, and then sequels to like, we did an Uno movie, or we did a Thomas movie, or we did a Hot Wheels movie. Like some of those are all sequels to that. Yeah. So it could be good. It could be bad.
I think it'd be good.
I think we just gotta wait and see. Honestly, I'm all for it because it shakes up that format we have with Hollywood right now, where it's big superhero movie, live action remake, animated kids movie. Like just shake it up. Throw stuff out there and see what sticks. Because the highest grossing movie of this year so far is the Super Mario Brothers movie at $1.something billion. Yeah. And they just threw that out there and they said, you know what? Yeah, let's make a Mario movie. Why not? We'll make it really good. We'll make it a faithful adaptation. We'll make sure the fans enjoy it. Bam. $1 billion in the bank.
Well, that's what I'm saying is this is where I'm at with movies now is I'm thinking, why not? Why not make a movie about the GameStop stocks? Why not? Why not make a movie about a bear that eats an ungodly amount of cocaine and kills everyone?
Why not?
Why not
make a movie about Five Nights at Freddy's like 10 years after the first game came out? And
literally,
it's not really
why
relevant
not?
anymore.
I want to go see it. I'm excited.
I don't like Five Nights at Freddy's, but I'm gonna go see that movie.
Here's the thing. Five Nights at Freddy's used to terrify me. Dude, I had legitimate nightmares about that game because
I didn't sleep for weeks.
I've never even played. I just really liked it because I was on YouTube. And so I watched all the Minecraft YouTubers play it. I was like, oh, what if I built my own version in Minecraft? And I did, and it ended up being really scary, and I scared myself. And then, like, all my friends were playing it, and all, like, everything. So it's like, I watched all the game theory videos about it because I was like,
too.
oh, if I'm afraid of it, maybe I can understand it and not be so afraid.
That was my logic. That was literally my logic. I was like, oh, if I understand it, I'll no longer be afraid. I will not be scared if I know. Didn't help.
Nope.
Didn't help.
I knew too much, and I was even more scared. But I'm an adult now. I'm a grown butt man, and I can say whatever I want. And so we can go see it together. Yep. And if we get scared, you can hold my hand.
I won't tell your girlfriend. It's okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
What happens in the theater stays in the theater.
What happens in the theater stays. I don't know if I'd go around saying that.
Okay, that is somewhere. Anyway, one thing I do like about Five Nights at Freddy's is that all those animatronics are real, and they're not CGI. Those are real animatronics that they built for the movie, and I respect that 100. That alone makes me want to go see the movie. Is the fact that they just took the extra time, because it is something that's like, oh, throw somebody in a mocap suit and then we'll just CGI it later. Right. But they took the time to look at the in-game models and figure out how do we translate that to real life and make it work. And they did. It seems like they did. So I'm like, you know what? Yeah. Go for it.
Pop off. Go for it. Why not? Yeah. Josh Hutcherson is a good cast, too, for this movie.
The guy from Hunger Games.
The guy from Hunger Games. The guy from Journey to the Center of the Earth. And what?
Shaggy from Scooby-Doo.
Shaggy from... When is he Shaggy from Scooby-Doo?
No, like the guy on the phone.
Oh,
That's like live action Shaggy from all the memes.
I thought you were talking about Josh Hutcherson.
Yeah.
I was like, when was Josh Hutcherson?
I was talking about the guy on the
Shaggy?
phone
You're right. You are right.
who's playing like the purple guy, but we don't know that in the trailer. We're not supposed to know that. But
he just picks up the phone and goes, "Hey, Scoob." It's like, no, I can't do this. I can't do this. Yeah, that'll be the first movie theater that I run out of in fear. That's actually not true.
You know what they should do? They should send physical animatronics to specific theaters and let them loose in the theater at a certain point in the movie.
That's awesome. Traumatize
what a good your idea. Audience.
Yes. I mean, it's just like the Tower of Terror. Like, it's us traumatizing kids on the Tower of Terror by screaming too loud.
How many kids do you think will be in the theater for Five Nights at
Probably
Freddy's?
too many. I have a theory.
Or do you think that this movie will capture the audience of like kids 8 years ago when FNAF first came out and they were 10 then, but now they're like our age?
I think it will do both. I think a big audience will be people like us who were like scared young kids when FNAF was huge. And like the game theory fans and whatever. But I also think like after Security Breach and like all the updates to the game, they still have a pretty young audience.
Yeah.
Which honestly might be their savior. It might kill them because this looks like it's going to be a scary movie. It's going to be a scary movie. And I think if you try to throw a ton of 8-year-olds that only played the new one that's not as scary and they're like, "Oh, I love this game. Let's go watch the movie." This might be a lawsuit waiting to happen, honestly.
It'll be like a Deadpool situation where parents got really mad that Deadpool was rated R and no one told them, even though the trailers told them and the movie theater employees should have told you, or they just assumed that you knew. Yeah. So you shouldn't. Like, you should do your ample research before taking your kid to a movie and not just blindly walk into a theater because, oh, it's Five Nights at Freddy's. My kid plays that game. Let's go. Like,
Which, also, your kid shouldn't be playing Five Nights at Freddy's. That's what I'm going to say.
Like, you shouldn't.
Anyway, yeah, we had a movie competition this year.
You're so right. I almost forgot.
And... were you in the 70s last we checked?
Okay. I'll just go first and be honest.
Yeah.
I watched 2 movies since the last episode.
Okay.
When I told you I was going to slow down and not watch any more movies, I took that literally, and I didn't.
I mean, granted, I haven't watched a whole lot, but I have watched more than 2.
I binged through an entire anime in the last 2 weeks.
Same.
Technically 2. So my TV shows have started going up, but my movies have not. The 2 movies were Indiana Jones and Asteroid City. So I'm now at 73 on Letterboxd, and I think once I include, let me find it. Where is it? I'm at 76.
Okay.
Including my duplicate watches I can't.
You're like low-key pretty close.
Yeah,
like
24 more.
Like a couple franchises and you're done.
I'm trying to figure out how I want to hit 100, like what I want the 100th movie to be.
What's the 100th movie gonna be?
Because I also get I get 2 100s because there's actual 100 and then there's Letterboxd 100.
Yeah.
Because I'm 3 off. So it's
because
like,
rewatches.
Wow.
Actually, I did I went through and calculated my rewatches and it was more than I thought. And so currently, as of now, I'm at 68.
Ooh.
So
you're trailing pretty close.
Still a discrepancy, but one good week for me, but also I'm gonna be out of town, and so.
I'll be really busy editing stuff too.
Right.
Plus, I find shows are easier to watch at work. Because they are shorter intervals and I have the opportunity to stop it if I want to. Yeah. Whereas a movie, like watching a show an hour before I clock out is like, okay, I can watch 2 episodes and then listen to some music for the change. But it's like,
Right.
I can't really start a movie because I don't have
Right.
enough time. So,
That makes sense. Yeah. One other thing I want to talk about before getting into the anime is I watched the movie Admission with Tina Fey and Paul Rudd this week. This is the second time I've seen it. No one talks about it. That movie is like a hidden gem. The movie is phenomenal. It's so sweet, so kind. Highly recommend. It's not streaming anywhere. We had to rent it. But it's one of those hidden gem movies that no one talks about. It's like very, very heartfelt and kind of out of character for both of those actors. Tina Fey and Paul Rudd are in it. So that's what I'm gonna say. Highly recommend Admission.
Can I ask you a question real quick?
Yeah.
Does anywhere in your town still have a red box?
Yeah, we have like 3.
Really?
We have a lot of red boxes.
I'm really curious. What's the sales on Redbox?
I will
like,
say,
who really still goes to a Redbox?
like I went over to watch Dungeons and Dragons a bit ago, and like they got it from the red box, which I thought that's kind of brilliant. I forgot the
Really?
red
It's
box
on Netflix.
exists. Huh?
It's on Netflix.
Is it? I don't know if it is.
And it's on HBO, I think.
I don't know if it is.
I'm going to fact check you right now.
I
I swear it's on Netflix.
but like new movies, yeah, totally go to Redbox. I forgot that existed. Like let's not forget that Redbox is a thing, guys. Yeah, fact check me. Go to the Just Watch and it'll tell you.
No, never go to Just Watch. Just Watch is
What's wrong with
factually inaccurate.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
It's
There's times where it'll tell me an anime is not on Crunchyroll, and then I'll go and it's on Crunchyroll.
well, anime is
I
different.
always double check. Does it for movies too. It is not on Netflix US.
It's on Paramount Plus.
It's on Netflix in a different country.
Okay, well, I don't have Netflix in a different country.
Well, maybe you should get a VPN, which is the sponsor of today's episode.
Nerd
ExpressVPN.
No.
Just kidding. I
If
wish we were
only.
sponsored.
Um.
Oh, totally off top.
Okay.
Like, did you see that Avatar: The Way of Water is on Max?
I did see that. Yes.
I want to know how they swung that. How did Disney let that go?
I also think that they realized not a lot of people cared, and they needed a wider release. My theory
Okay, but
is
again,
not
why would
enough
Disney let that
people-
go? It made like $1 billion last year, did it not?
No, it did. I think people like me. I went and saw Way of the Water, but I also went and saw it because it was in the theater. I don't ever intend to watch it outside of the theater. And
I
so
don't ever intend to watch it.
maybe I mean it's a theory that they needed a wider streaming release. It may have just been James Cameron being James Cameron and been like, I will make this movie for you, but it must be on HBO and Disney Plus. And they're like, okay, whatever,
That's
because
not what it
apparently
sounds
James
like, but
Cameron
it's
can
funny.
do whatever he wants. So
He really can. He makes too much money for them to be like, well. I thought it was really funny. Like, when the whole thing happened with the sub going to the Titanic, they like called James Cameron and were like, so about this sub,
yeah,
right? You know more about the Titanic than any of us. Which, like, yeah, he absolutely did his
Yeah.
research for
Oh,
that
absolutely.
movie. But it was funny that like one of the first people they called,
We're like,
James
"Mr.
Cameron,
James
is that
Cameron?"
you?
And he's like,
Titanic expert James Cameron.
Mr. James Cameron, is that you? And he goes, yes, what is it? He's like, I
Yes,
just
that's me.
picture him like in this ginormous bathtub, like full of like bubbles. And he's like, oh, who is ringing my telephone? He's like, hello. And he's like, there's a what? And then he like shoots.
There's a what by the Titanic?
They did what? And he like shoots.
Another reason to go down?
Like, all right, I'm in. He doesn't
Anyway.
even bring a boat. He dives in for a rescue mission. He
He just puts on like a diving suit, goes down himself.
he's just like,
He's
all right,
immune.
I'm in.
He's immune to the amount of pressure that's down by the
no,
Titanic.
literally, it would
At
not
this point,
surprise
his
me.
body's just used to it.
It would not surprise me. Yeah, this week, what I've mainly been doing is watching this little show, and it's called. I can't pronounce the name. I need you to say it.
Do it.
Kaguya Love is War. What is that?
Excuse me. What did you say? That wasn't even close. You got Love is War. I need you... Jackson. Are we doing this again?
I need to...
This is like, this man said Zenitsu 7 different ways except for the correct way.
We need to run through some names before we like talk about this show. So the main girl is...
Were you not taught, what is it called? Phonetics? Is that what it's called? Phonics. Were you not taught phonics as a homeschooler?
I don't know.
Where you sound the word out and then put it together? Like, look at it. Kaguya, and then put it together. Kaguya.
So Kaguya.
Sama.
Love
is War. If you can't say Love is War, that's a different problem.
Kaguya-Sama.
I get the Japanese names. Those are kind of hard.
Kaguya-Sama, Love is War.
There you go.
Okay.
Now.
Oh, gosh.
Let's run down the characters real quick.
Let's go through some characters. So, the main girl is Kaguya.
Kaguya Shinomiya.
Who is in love with the president, who is Shirogane. And they are...
I mean, you're kind of close. I'll give it to you.
Shirogane. Who is...
Shirogane. Or if you want to say it how they say it in the dub, it's Shirogane. They kind of do the R more like a D.
Shirogane. So, and then they are accompanied by their friend Fujiwara.
Oh, you got that one. Good job.
Let's
I'm
go.
proud of you.
Fujiwara. Who is, and then there's their treasurer is, I didn't even write down his name at one point.
Ishigami.
Ishigami. So,
and we can't forget Kaguya's
her maid,
attendant, her maid, also known as Best Girl. Ai Hayasaka. Best Girl. Thank you.
She will be referred to as the maid because I cannot say that. Yeah, this is a show I really went in with zero expectations. Literally zero. If you're new to the series, the point is Nick has seen and loves these shows, and I've never seen them, and I have no idea what they're about. I just like... He's all about it, and I'm not. And so he makes me watch them to get an outsider's opinion. And so I really went in with zero expectations. Absolutely none. Like, I had no idea what this was about. And just general thoughts out of the way before we get into specifics, I really liked it.
Good. We'll make it to episode 100.
We're making it to 100. I was into it. Like, you know when you're like watching a show and you're like, this is pretty good. I was like excited to watch. Like the last 2 episodes last night, I was into it. And so this is a good watch, and I might go back and watch the other season 2.
See, you say that, but you've never done it.
You see,
you said that for Demon Slayer a year ago, and you haven't done it. And you said that for Spy Family, and you haven't done that either.
So when I say that, I mean at some point I will we can cover season 2 if you want, so that I will actually watch it.
That was kind of like my sad thing about this episode was that we were stopping at season 1 because I got to the end of season 1. Like, I watched through it again as well. And I got to the end and I was like, man, I just want to keep going. Because I know it gets exponential. Like, it just keeps getting better. And, like, usually season 1, whenever you watch a show, you tell people, like, well, you just got to get through season 1. Like, if you just get through season 1, it'll be fine because it gets better after that. No, season 1 is really good. And then it keeps getting better every season. because you also throw in new characters, which changes up the dynamic. And then in season 3, you get even more characters that changes up the dynamic. And then there's the movie, which kind of stays the same. And I have, you can't see it on my shelf, but I have the 13 most recent volumes of the manga, like where the anime left off. And it keeps the cast of characters after season 3 and doesn't really build on that. Like, it doesn't add any more. It just works with the ones you have and builds up there. Which I think is such a great thing.
That's
that, like,
good.
we don't introduce all the characters at once. We kind of build up to it, and then we keep our core characters, and we move with them throughout the rest of the series. Which is, the manga is concluded, so it's over. Not in English yet. I'm waiting to buy the volumes as they come out, which will be sometime next year. It'll be over. We're close.
We're that
On the
close.
final arc. It's really good.
Yeah.
But
I'd also like to say, spoilers for season 1 of Love is War. If you don't want spoiled, we're going to be talking about it very openly.
Yep.
And also warning, what would you rate this show? Like,
as a whole,
PG, like,
oh, I thought you were like
out of 10, like,
yeah, out of 10, 10.
I would consider this a PG show, Love is War. And so there are some episodes that touch on some stuff for a younger audience would need to be explained. That's how I will say it.
There's one bit, I think it's in season 2. I'm trying to remember. There's one bit that I would say really pushes the line, and I think it was in the latter 2 seasons. I don't think it was in the first one.
Well,
because there was one, I remember watching it, and I was like, this is really funny, but this is definitely pushing the line of, like, borderline TVMA.
Yeah. Oh,
like,
gosh.
not, okay, well, maybe that's a little.
TV-14 or
yeah, TV-14. I think it's definitely
because the season.
If you wanted to give the show a broad rating, I'd say TV-14.
Yeah, broad rating TV-14 depends on the episode because it's so hard because the whole thing is pretty much PG except for like 3 episodes and like little moments. But I'd also like to talk about some of those moments. So if you're a little younger, maybe maybe not.
If we're going to talk about those moments, I'll talk about one that had me cackling at my desk this week.
Oh my God.
Was when they were talking about going to the beach and Kaguya was really into it. And then Fujiwara's like, oh man, I got to go buy a new bathing suit because mine from last year doesn't fit. And she's like, I didn't think about that. And then they make the comparison of like chest size to war vehicles.
It was, yeah, the war. I was like, what is this show? Because they were like,
I'm pulling up with a
vehicles.
tiny little gun and she's got a tank.
But I was like, in any other context, this would be so weird. But it was like, no, this is high school. Like, literally, this is high school. Like, it was like, it worked, is what I will say. Is it felt weird, but it worked. And I gotta give my favorite quote. And I would not be able to leave this episode with good conscience without sharing my favorite quote from this entire show. And it's the first thing I wrote down. It says, the only thing stronger than his chastity belt is his delusional confidence. That is, put that on a Hobby Lobby wood sign. The only thing stronger than his chastity belt is his delusional confidence. Wow. That is
TNP
art.
merch?
That is cinema. This is cinema.
Martin Scorsese, this is cinema.
Well, that's kind of what I point this out because this stuff, like, it feels a little weird in the moment. You're like, it's weird. It very randomly gets weirdly sexual. And I would also argue that, like, I'm also going to say they're high schoolers. Yeah. And the reality is high schoolers talk about that sort of thing and they think about that sort of thing, and the whole point is that it's a love battle, and that is a key component in like a worldly air quote battle of love is
Right.
like the sexuality concept. And so
Yeah.
I thought it was handled very well overall. Is like they weren't like disrespectful to each other. And when someone was disrespectful to one another, they were scolded for it and they were punished for it. And it was very much like, what's the treasurer's name? I'm sorry.
Ishigami.
So Ishigami is left like talking very inappropriately about the girls, and then they pop up behind him and he's like, they're behind me, aren't they? And it's like really weird, and like Fujiwara like beats him for it, like, and it was like, you deserve that.
The physical comedy of this show, like,
oh, it's hilarious.
The way they did that bit specifically,
Yeah.
where like you see her rolling it up and then she holds it and smiles and it's all cheery and then it immediately cuts to bam, 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 bam.
Yeah.
That, I will say, I feel like, and especially for anime, this series handles things very tastefully.
Mm-hmm.
When they are talking about like, oh, well, her boobs are really big.
Yeah.
Like, it comes off in a more realistic sense, whereas in other series, like, you'll have the main protagonist oohing and eyeing over it for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
When it's
and
like,
it's just
okay,
gross.
calm down, bud. That's
Yeah.
kind of weird. But the
Yeah.
way they do it here is like, as someone who was a high schooler at one point, I
Yeah.
know, shocker,
Whoa.
that's what high schoolers talk about.
Yeah.
Especially like amongst guys. They'll
Yeah.
sit there and be like, so yeah, yep,
Yeah.
this is what we're all observing together.
And
And
it was
that's where we
very-
stop the conversation.
And while it makes it cringy, it also, I'm like, dude, that's high school. That's what high schoolers do, and it's horrible and it sucks, but it's handled very tastefully in this show. And more just general thoughts, the segmented style of this show works so well. The way that you have 3 different stories that are low-key, like, continuous stories throughout the whole series, that's brilliant. And it works for this show perfectly because every story is a battle. And it's just these little key moments of like, this is their battle for the day. This is this battle, this, like, and it works so well. And I will say, at the beginning of the show, my first thought was, is this all that there is? Like, it felt like watching a montage for the first like 4 episodes. And I was like, I'm ready. I wanted something deeper. When in reality, I just needed to be patient because it got there and it was worth the wait, and it is executed very well. It's like it gives you little tastes of every character, and they don't introduce the treasure until like episode 7 of 12. And
so, you know what's fun about that?
what?
Is he gets his introduction in episode 6, but going back and watching, and this is something I noticed, is he's there every time they do a group shot. Like
Yeah.
when they do that big group shot where they're all standing on like the 20th Century Fox
Yeah.
logo, he's there. He's just has his back to the camera
Yeah.
and he's sitting there. There's another shot where they're all in the room and he's there.
Yeah.
Or they briefly mention him in passing and you see him walk in and out of the door really quickly.
Yeah.
There's also like some characters in the background who become relevant later. Like, for those who've seen season 2 and 3, I think her name is Maki. I'm pretty sure her name is Maki Shijo. She's in the background of a bunch of season 1, but she doesn't really have any plot relevance till middle of season 2,
Yeah.
end of season 3, and at the very end of season 1, in that very last episode, as they're running through the hall, you see the next person who will be added to the student council,
Oh.
which is Miko Ino,
Okay.
which top tier character. I'll be honest, one of my faves.
Okay.
Okay. But it's great because some series will tend to just throw characters in and be like, well, they were in a different class. That's why you've never seen them.
Yeah.
But this is like, the characters were very intentionally put there so that you were like, oh, I know you. I've seen you around.
Yeah. Which is
Because
what school
now-
is like. It's
Right.
like, I've seen you around, but I've never talked to you. And it also made perfect sense because he's very reclusive. He's very introverted. And even throughout the series, he's never found in a normal place. He's never found like at a table or in a chair. He's always hiding behind something. And so it made sense that you didn't see him. And it was perfect because you got to know all of the other characters. And then he gets introduced and you're like, oh, okay. It's not overwhelming. I'm not like it's not too much information at once. And and this is a common theme that I'm learning with anime. And so for reference, the only anime I've watched is for this podcast. And so we watched Demon Slayer and we watched Sword Art Online and we watched Spy Family. And so that's really all I've seen. And a common theme that I'm picking up on is that they take their time a lot better than American shows do.
Amen.
In the sense of the payoff of the last episode of Love is War only works, and it only got me as excited as it did because they took their time to get there. And I think if they like threw all the characters in by episode 3, or you instantly knew everything about everyone and they instantly got super deep in episode 2, like I wouldn't care. But like they really ease into like letting you get to know the people, and it starts off almost just like a comedy. You're like, oh, this is funny. It's just for giggles. It's for laughs. And then halfway through, you start to get a lot deeper. And the first point that I noticed this was the French party that they had to take care of. And at the end of that battle, it was like battle results, or like results of today's battles. They both win because they showed each other their weaknesses. And I said out loud by myself, I went, "Aw." And it was like this tender moment that came out of nowhere. And I was like, oh, this is like, it's actually a romance. Like, it's not just a comedy. Like, it goes way deeper than you think it would from the first 3 episodes. And I really appreciate that. I like the pacing of this show.
Yeah, it's handled really well. And like you mentioned earlier, how it segments those battles without giving anything away. I will tell you, where the anime ends right now is the halfway point in the series.
Okay.
It's literally in volume 14 of 28. It's season 3/movie out of what I can assume will be season 6, or like 6 seasons if they ever get there. They haven't announced season 4 yet. Please do. Please. I love the manga, but I need to see it in the anime. But once they reach that halfway point, and the author mentioned this, I love reading the little author's notes that get left in the physical volumes of the manga. And he talks about how this is the halfway point of the story, and now I want to pivot and start changing the story. And it goes from a very battle to battle to like chapter to chapter, and it's a more full chapter that you essentially stop getting battle to battle, and it's like it would be like a full episode is one plot line. And the reason it changes makes a lot of sense as to why he changed the writing style. It's just, I wrote on my serialized review for season 1, this will be a series that people look back on for years.
Yeah.
Just on how well it is written in general, how good of a romance and rom-com it is.
Yeah.
Like, this is one of those anime that will be, like, come at me if you want. This is like an Attack on Titan, especially for the romance anime community.
That's big.
Or, like, just
That's
romance
big.
anime. Love is War is the Attack on Titan equivalent in the romance anime world. Because it just has left that imprint. I've never seen anybody talk about a romance anime the same way they talk about this one.
I mean, it left its footprint, and it's well deserved. And I even noticed in the last like 2 episodes that it became a little more congruent, and it was like they were like, oh, we have like a full, like this is becoming more of a story to tell.
Right.
And when it became that, it was awesome. And I watched the last 2 episodes last night, and I was literally in my room by myself, and she pulled out the line. She said it was like the fireworks were going off and everyone loved them, but I was too distracted looking at you. And I was just like it's over. It's over. Like, I'm like, they belong together. They have to be in love. They're getting married. It's happening. Okay, no one can tell me otherwise. And so they portrayed their relationship to be so strong, but also really funny. It was funny. This is a funny show. Some of my other notes I wrote, my favorite, the narrator, 10 out of 10.
The narrator kills it.
I watched the
every
dub.
single time.
I watched the dub, and after I scrubbed through a little bit of the sub just to see the difference. And I think the biggest difference I felt was the narrator was a lot bigger in the dub, like voice-wise. And the dub, well, I don't know if I'm going to say it's better because I've only scrubbed through the sub, but I loved the dub. I think
what helps the dub, especially, like, aside from the stellar cast, everyone in that show does such a great job. Especially Ian Sinclair as the narrator. But what I think helps is the comedy moves so fast, we find it funnier when we can just listen to it.
Right.
I had to watch the movie subbed because they haven't dubbed the movie yet.
Right.
And watching it, I still got the same experience out of it.
Yeah.
But it was a lot harder to process because now I'm trying to read and keep up with how fast the jokes are coming off. So I think that definitely helps the dub. In the sense of I can hear it and process while I'm looking at what I'm looking at.
Because the writing is solid. Like, it's snappy, it's funny, it's like characters are good. And I wrote down a lot of quotes. This is the first show or movie that we've watched where I mainly wrote down quotes instead of notes. And one of my notes says, I really love Fujiwara because we all know that one friend that everyone hates, even though they're just living their life. So it's like, how dare you? And it's like they're just living. Like, she's just living her best life, but she always gets like attacked, and it's so funny. She's underrated, and it's even like brought up at some point. She's like, oh, I need to appreciate Fujiwara more because she's always there for me. And I thought that was really sweet. I love their relationship, like they grew up together. I wrote the quote, the narrator says, I really like the episode in the finals where anytime someone said something, the narrator would be like, he's lying. And so
he's lying. He's going to enjoy his newest video game.
That's what it says. He's lying. The only thing he's going to apply himself to is his new video game. And I was just like,
me when Tears of the Kingdom came out.
Me. Oh, and this show did hit a lot harder now that I've been in school. And I'm like, on it, like, even in college, this kind of rings true. This is how people behave in college. It truly, truly is. I wrote down nothing but you really are quite cute. I feel like I need that on a shirt or a sticker, or you really are quite cute. That's just a GOAT line because I
love the way they phrase it in the anime too. It's like a derogatory. It's an
insult.
Like,
yeah.
You really are quite cute.
You really are quite cute. No, please.
I lost the game. No.
This
anime is just the game.
No, it is the game.
Don't lose the game.
Hey, if you've been playing the game, you just lost the game. You just lost the game. Sorry.
Also, I'm going to make this correlation real quick. And I know you probably saw it on the notes. Kaguya and Shirogane are just Yor and Lloyd in high school.
From Your Name?
No, from Spy Family.
Oh.
if you were to de-age what they would look like in high school, it's very close.
You're so right.
It's similar enough that people are like, oh my gosh. Because even in the first opening, Kaguya has knives and
you're right.
Shirogane has a gun. And then they have their pink-haired associates.
Is that a trope? Is that a thing? Or is it...
It's a trope enough that people will point it out. But it's usually the other way around. It's usually like the dark-haired guy and the blonde-haired girl. But sometimes they'll switch it up and go the other way. And I'm like, you know what? I'm all for it.
Is it the kind of thing where there's always a character that looks like you in every anime movie?
Apparently.
Like,
I have not found myself in Love is War yet.
There's still time.
There's still time. We still have 2 more seasons.
I wrote down the quote with like that you know that emoji with like the eyes that are like really sad and they're like, you know, like the cute eyes. And I wrote down, she said, "It's a small circle, but it's mine." And I thought, like, after watching from the beginning to the end of the show and how much development it took just for her to get to that point of it's a small circle, but it's mine, that hurt. That was beautiful. Like, that's what I'm talking about when I say this show has solid writing. That's good. Like, the journey it took to get there was really peak.
Everyone gets their chance at development.
Yeah. No, it's really good. The maid, goated character. She saves them.
Dude.
And it's just so good to have an adult who is there like, this is stupid. Go to him. Go talk to him.
You know she's not an adult, right?
Is she like...
No, she goes to that school.
I thought she was undercover.
Her and Kaguya are the same age.
Really?
Yeah. I thought that was implied.
No,
like I know
adult.
it for sure because I've read the manga and like it talks about their backstory together in the manga.
Oh.
They grew up together as kids. Kaguya met Fujiwara in middle school. But Kaguya and Hayasaka have been like sisters since day one. And she she goes to their school. She's in the same grade. They're just not in the same class.
I thought that maid was an adult.
Nope. Still
There's
best girl.
No way.
I mean, they're all really close to being adults. They're like 17.
I thought she was like in her 20s and was like needed a job, and so she is like working for them. But no, I thought anytime she was at the school, I thought she was undercover. That's what I
so
thought.
she's 18 as of chapter 213.
Okay.
What is chapter 213? Where is that?
Okay, that's
in
interesting.
volume 22. Oh,
Well,
that's not too far.
I'm also really glad in the end of the show they touched on them using social media, because that's also a very key factor in high school relationships. But I also think Twitter, they're on Twitter. Are high schoolers on Twitter?
It's called Twitter.
They're on Threads now.
It's called Twitter in the series, and I think that's absolutely hilarious that they just called it Twitter. Usually they come up with like, oh, I'm on Twitter or Twitter.
Yeah.
But they're like, nope, Twitter.com.
I'm on Red Robin. It's like, what?
His tweets are protected.
They were just like, no, he's on Twitter. His tweets are protected. Also, the like internet safety lesson that this show gives is so good. Like, just good advice.
If your account is public, that means anybody can walk in your front door.
No,
but if it's private, only certain people have the key.
How do I get a key? W.
Alexis Tipton really killed it as Kaguya in that episode. She does such a phenomenal job with that character.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that was really really good.
I think the reason you thought Hayasaka was an adult is because she acts like an adult.
No, she does.
Especially in comparison to Kaguya.
Yeah, she is a voice of reason. And that's what every high school relationship needs, is a voice of reason to say, you're being stupid,
Don't
just do this. When it's literally like, this entire thing is because you don't want to talk to him. Like you. And I was also watching this show, I got embarrassed because I was like, I did that. Oh, man. It was like, that's why it's so good, is because I was like, no, yeah, that's true. I did that. I do that.
Oh, I do that.
I also wrote down, this took me a long time to write out, but this is like a paragraph quote.
Oh boy, here we go.
I took. I like rewinded because I thought this was so true. So this is and I wrote this down because this is exactly what my high school experience was. It says, there are countless things to do during summer break, but whether or not these things are done in a co-ed group depends on how the group's initial excursion pans out. If the first attempt at hanging goes well, there's talk of doing this again sometime. But if the first outing goes poorly, the psychological hurdle of getting the group together again gets higher. And was just like, is that not so true? That is like that's it. Like, they hit the nail on the head. They're right. I was blown away. That was a stupid quote and it wasn't super important, but that one touched me. I was like, oh, you're right. That's a good way to say it. And final note that I wrote is, what does Fujiwara being a ramen master have to do with anything?
Okay.
What
Clearly
does
you weren't paying
that
attention.
have to do with
I'll
anything?
be honest, I didn't get it the first time either. I thought it was dumb. But
like, why
watching
am
it a
I
second
here?
time, I'm like, no. This is an integral part of her character. But okay, the lore of the 4 ramen kings.
Okay.
Right? And then Fujiwara just walks in and is like on par, according to one of the ramen kings, is on par with the 4. And it's kind of like, my best explanation is that it exists to poke fun at the power scaling in action anime. Like Dragon Ball, where they're like, oh my gosh, that guy, I totally underestimated him, but he's on par with the Super Saiyans. And like, that's kind of why it exists, is to be a comedic break for Fujiwara that also ends up poking fun at how ridiculous power scaling can be. Honestly, I took it as, it was kind of, it reminded me of a conversation with Film Bros. To bring it all the way back around. Because she walks in and he's like, oh, she probably thought this was a candy shop or something. What a loser.
What a loser.
And then she's like, she orders her ramen and she's like, extra thick on the noodles. And he's like, oh, does she even know extra thick is bad? Ew, disgusting. And then as she keeps going, she's like, she's doing mini ramen in the spoon. Is that why she made them extra thick? Was so that they would get soggy over time? Like, it's just kind of ridiculous. And it's like the Film Bros who are like, oh, look at that guy. He's wearing a Demon Slayer shirt. Probably thinks anime is animation. Probably thinks animation is cinema. And then like, you share an opinion of like, oh, well, I think Avengers Infinity War is the masterpiece of our time. What?
Yeah.
It's like that kind of stuff. It's like, it's really stupid.
I also, and it's like increasingly getting more shocking as she reveals, like, but I also think it's important for Fujiwara's character because she's not an idiot.
No.
She's not an idiot. While she may be a little socially unconscious,
she made a joke about it. She was like, people can't say I don't know how to read the room.
People seem saying I don't know how to read a room. But she's brilliant. Like, she's actually like, she knows what she's doing. And I like that about her.
There's a moment in the manga where that comes full circle. And
I'd
like,
also like to say So the ramen masters, is that who helped her escape from the house? Like, was it the ramen master driving the cab and the ramen master that was like smoking? Got it. So,
well, he was the one driving the cab. Those were the same person, because she used the same cab.
Yes. So, so she gained the respect of the ramen masters, and they ended up helping them get to the fireworks in the end. Right? Is that what happened?
No. You're getting confused. Okay. The taxi driver who drove Kaguya from her house is the same guy who drove them to the fireworks.
Yes.
Has nothing to do with Fujiwara.
Was that a ramen master?
It just happens to be it was one of the ramen masters. Because when they're in the car and they're like, we might make it, the guy's like, well, this stays in this car. And then Ishigami's like,
the gas. Yeah, he hits the gas.
Our cabbie is a badass.
Yeah, I love that
and
line.
And then it pops
so
up on
much.
screen of like one of the 4 ramen kings, and that was the taxi driver.
You're like, oh.
So this does make sense in the lore. Okay. So that wasn't pointless.
That makes a little more sense. I understand that. Final, concluding thoughts. I want to touch on the treasurer for a second because he's an icon. And
truly.
He is a meme, and I love him. And I imagine he will get deeper as the show goes on. That's part of the reason I want to continue, but also I'll probably forget to continue, TBH. But also his lines, or he's like, I'm gonna go home because I want to die. It's like, okay,
but please don't die.
But he's just dramatic. Like he really is just.
There's some stuff where he was like,
nerd.
Fujiwara, I noticed you're using different conditioner. It smells different. And she's like, that's actually really creepy. He's like,
that was my favorite scene. He's like, Fujiwara, I heard, did you get a new conditioner? It's like, because every time you walk by, it smells like a honeysuckle baby. And he was like, he's like, I'm going to go home.
I'm going to go home now because I want to die.
He's like, okay.
I love when he's doing the exam prep with Kaguya. And he's do whatever you want, but don't take away my video games on my phone. And then he lost his video game and his phone.
No! It's like, don't make me eat dried fish. Eat this dried fish.
As long as you don't make me eat dried fish and study, you can do whatever you want to me.
We're going to eat dried fish and study. No!
He's funny.
He's funny. And it's the
here's what I'll tell you.
Genius.
If you think he has good chemistry now, wait till season 2. When Miko gets added. Because him and her,
I might need the
opposites.
Crunchyroll login. Crunchyroll login.
Absolute opposites. They go back and forth like nobody's business, and it's so funny.
I might need the Crunchyroll login.
Because he doesn't care about the rules, but she's a real stickler for the rules. And
yeah,
it's great.
Concluding thoughts. This is a fire show. This is a good show. It is just very solid. It was very funny, and I really liked how it was. The joke was that it's a war, and they're having this mental battle over something kind of stupid, when in reality they could just talk to each other. But it's brilliant because that's what high school feels like. Is they're very much like, oh, it's a mental game, it's a battle, when it's like, no, you just need to talk to each other.
Yeah, you just need to walk up and be honest.
Yeah.
And I remember that. I remember being in high school and crushing on girls and being like, ooh, well, if I do this, then, she'll do that, which opens me up to do this, and then I can win, and it's easy. Yeah. And it's like,
and it's like,
no, just be honest.
No. And so I think it was executed very well to be an interesting show that takes place in 3 rooms. The animation is gorgeous. I don't know if we've touched on that. Animation is gorgeous.
It is.
It's directed very well. The characters are relatable and funny. The comedy is solid, right? The story arc is great. And I I really enjoyed this show, and once I got into it, I was like really into it. And so I think this was a great choice for an episode.
Yeah, good job, guys, voting in the poll.
job,
You guys
everyone.
chose this anime over, I think, Komi Can't Communicate and Horimiya. Which
I remember that one.
Horimiya's back for season 2.
Air quotes.
It's really just they're adapting the stuff they skipped over before.
Right.
But it's really funny.
I'm not in.
I was cackling at Horimiya last weekend when I watched the first episode. I'll tell you about one of the jokes because I don't want to say it on the podcast.
So it must be
one
good.
of them, it was really funny.
Everyone imagine a really funny joke, and that's what
it
we'll be
was.
talking about, and that's what it was. So
one of my favorite, like, to give my closing thoughts, one of my favorite aspects of Love is War is how they use the animation to sell the comedy.
Yeah.
And I was really worried about that jumping to the manga. I was like, well, this is really going to test how good the actual comedic writing is. If it can stand without having that animation. Oh, and it does. Absolutely it does. Which means the jokes are good. Yeah. And they're funny regardless of whether or not you read them on a page or you watch them in the anime. And I really appreciated that they did a great job adapting Aka Akasaka's work forward, which
that's great.
He's already moved on to his next project. He's he's cooking.
He's outie.
Which the anime for that is already out.
Oh.
And it caused a big stir fire because Kaguya makes a cameo in the new anime.
Whoa.
Or in the new series as a photographer. And everyone's like, "Aw, that's Kaguya." And then, like, you notice she has a wedding ring on and there's nothing else mentioned. And you're like... And that was before Love is War ended. And everyone was like, what does this mean?
Oh my gosh. That's brilliant. What? That's actually brilliant. What a guy. Wow. Huh.
I really want to watch his new one. It's Oshinoko. The first season is over. They just confirmed season 2. I really want to watch it, but it's on high dive.
Okay.
So I'd have to pay for it. But
yeah, never mind.
Maybe one day we'll cover it because I've heard it's really good.
Unless you have anything else to say, we are outie, and I'd like to say thank you for listening. Follow us on Twitter. Our tweets are not protected.
I saw you almost say Threads.
I wanted to say it so bad.
I saw your mouth move.
Follow
us
on
the
Twitter. Follow us on Twitter. And our tweets are not protected. So you don't need a key to get in. So come on in. Don't abuse that power or else you'll get blocked. Just kidding.
You'll get shot and kicked out of the house.
Shot, kicked out of the house. There's a home invader.
Remember, we Americans like to use explosions.
We've been really good at letting episodes come full circle. Like, we really
full
talked
circle.
about, like,
Americans
Twitter
like
and
explosions
and like all this, and then it came back into the show. Go us. Who would have thought? Not
really
me.
Figuring out the format. Look at us.
Yeah. So if you like what we're doing here, follow us on Instagram at The Nerdiest Podcast and subscribe on YouTube at The Nerdiest Podcast. And guys, episode 100 is this close. We're so close. And I can't wait. We have some amazing, amazing stuff planned. So make sure you're following on Instagram to see what's going on. Subscribe on YouTube because we're doing live events and original content there, and you can watch video versions of episodes. So go there. We're doing a big announcement really soon. Really big announcement soon. So we cannot wait. And we will see you in the next episode. Leave 5-star reviews on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, everywhere. And we will see you in the next episode. Bye.